Hello, Melanie here, coming at you again with another special edition of Off the Mat. And this one truly is special because I am filming this during my birthday week. That is right, I am going to turn another year older in just a few days. And if you know me personally, you know how much I love my birthday. I was born in the month of August. I am a Leo to the core, through and through. I love taking birthday weeks, birthday months, birthday seasons all summer long in anticipation of the big day. But I just wanted to come on here and just do more of a reflection for this Off the Mat and celebrate what I like to call my personal new year. If you're not familiar with what that is, I strongly encourage you to go back and look at one of my very first Off the Mat videos where I talk about personal new year. I recorded that last year. But basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. Instead of waiting to make my New Year's resolutions in January and at the end of the year and just put a lot of pressure on turning the calendar, I do a lot more reflection over the summer in anticipation of me turning another year older, another trip around the sun. And I'll be honest with you, in the past, as much as I love celebrating my birthday and as much as a August Leo that I am, there's also quite a bit of anxiety that comes with my personal new year. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I am in no way, shape, or form where I thought I would be at this point in my life. At this point in my life, I thought I would be married. I thought I would have children. I thought that things would just look very differently than what they are. Entrepreneurship was never on the agenda. Going into fitness and health coaching full-time was never on the agenda. I always thought that once I graduated from pharmacy school, I would get a job with within the Department of Veterans Affairs and, be a government employee until it was time to retire. But that did not happen. Life has a way of coming in and switching things up and making a roller coaster. And, soon enough you look around and you're like, how did I get here? Not to say that it's bad, but it's also like, how did I get here? So I think, as I have looked at the past couple of years, when looking back at my birthday and my personal new year, there's a lot of honestly unnecessary pressure and kind of sadness that I put on myself because, again, I'm not where I thought I would be. But when I look at my personal new year this year, I don't feel any of that. None at all. Yes, there's a little bit of I can't believe I'm getting another year older. And mind you, I'm a lot older than I look. But once I get past that, I kind of just got to thank God and say, you know what, Lord, thank you, because I'm actually in a really good place this year, knock on wood, and I hope that I can stay that way. And when I was talking to one of my friends about why that's so, I had to reflect and think, it's because I actually took the time and I quote unquote did the work. When I look back at the trajectory of what my life looked like from my birthday in 2024 till now in 2025, yeah, I've done a lot of work. And a lot of it had to do with building up my business Moves with Melanie, but that also trickled over into other areas of my life. So when I think about where I was last year this time, I had just launched my YouTube channel. Moves with Melanie was still in its infancy stages. I was still planning on leading my first ever fitness retreat. There was a lot of nervousness. There was a lot of imposter syndrome. There was a lot of just uncertainty and just feeling like I was just a blade of grass blown in the wind. I was happy to be on my own and, taking this entrepreneurial journey, but as a person who thrives on structure and function, it was driving me crazy that I didn't have any. So fast forward to later on in 2024, I connected with someone who was also an alum of University of North Carolina, where I went to college, on LinkedIn. And she turns out to be a business coach. And we had a networking call that eventually turned into me becoming a client of hers, because even though Moves with Melanie, again, was in the infancy stages, I still felt like that I needed to invest in sound coaching and, advice from someone who had been there, done that, and can give me direction and the framework that I was looking for to put my business pillars in place and provide me with the direction of where I wanted to go and where I wanted to see this thing, what I wanted to see my business turn into. And yes, it was quite a financial investment, but I told myself that I was going to make up for it on the back end. You know, once I get my pillars in place, once I have my business strategy ironed out, I'm going to make that up in clients, in retreats, and other avenues that I'm trying to pursue versus me just trying to, throw darts in the dark without any guidance. So investing in the business coach really was helpful because not only did I have the outside perspective, I also was able to bring in someone that really frankly kept it real with me. She made me come up with, 3 or 4 goals that we wanted to work on during our time together. And that really helped me channel my energy into those particular areas versus me just trying to cast a wide net and just hope that I can just work with whatever I get, or again, just throwing things at the wall in the dark and just seeing what sticks. I had the pillars that I was yearning for. So from those pillars, I was able to channel my energy into each place and remove all of the fluff. Once I had that framework or the funnels coming in, I was able to basically have the alignment that I was looking for. And I don't know if you're a spiritual person, but once you have the alignment in place, beautiful things can flow in. So once I found the pieces that I was looking for business-wise, it seemed that everything else in my life kind of just seemed to flow and fall into place. And that is a magical feeling. I would say the other thing that I did this year was say yes to things before I was even ready to do it. We get in our head, especially as an entrepreneur, the only person we're talking to is ourselves. I'm the CEO, I'm HR, I'm IT, I'm the talent, I'm admin. And so when I talk myself out of a lot of things, or I get in my own way when it's just not even necessary. And that just leads to a whole bunch of imposter syndrome. But like I said, once I had the pillars in place and once I felt fully aligned, the opportunities just started coming in. And some of them I felt really confident pursuing in regards to, fitness classes I was teaching or workshops that I could participate in, and others, not so much. This YouTube journey, when it was suggested to me to start a channel, I was like, why would I do that? Like, who wants to listen to what I have to say or work out with me? But here we are. More than a year later, and I've been able to fine tune my strategy in regards to that. Other things would be, serving as a speaker on webinars or in-person teaching opportunities, or teaching in a variety of different studios as far as my fitness format. So when I start to say yes to things before I think I'm even ready, that allows me to step outside of my comfort zone and also come up with a new way of thinking. So for example, I was offered an opportunity to create a brand new class at a yoga studio in Washington, DC. And, this was something that I wasn't even looking for, but when the opportunity presented itself in my lap, I said, absolutely, I will do it. I have no idea, I'm not really yoga trained, I'm bar trained, but we can figure something out. And I've been teaching that bar fusion flow class in Washington, DC for 7-8 months, and we have built up just a lovely thing, to the point where we're adding more time slots to the schedule, which is amazing. And I would say the last way that I've done the work, honestly, is to be honest with myself. Write down, what do I actually want out of business and also out of life? Because once you are able to identify those true things, that not only shows your priorities, but again, like I said a few minutes ago, it helps you know where you can channel your energy and who deserves your energy. So I just want to use those as examples and hopefully inspiration to anyone that comes across this video and takes the time to watch it. Humbling yourself, removing your ego, being honest with yourself about what you want can be difficult. It forces you to really take a good internal examination about, the truth and telling yourself the truth and getting out of your own way and stop lying to yourself. But it's always worth the energy and it's always worth the effort, and it always pays off in the long run. So I'll just leave you with a few tips on what are some ways that you can do the work in your own life. Well, first is to have that honest conversation with yourself. I am a spiritual person. I believe in writing things down because that helps bring them to fruition. Second would be to find an accountability partner, whether it's a therapist, a health coach, a friend that you trust, someone that can provide you with sound, objective advice, and hold you accountable. We all need that in our lives. People are designed to be in community with one another. We do not have to do these things on our own. So find someone to talk to, someone that you trust, and ask for help and ask for the coaching and accountability. Making change takes time, it takes grit, it takes effort, but like I said, it's always worth it. And if you're looking for something that's official and that will hold you accountable, and if you're like me, you need the financial investment as your incentive to actually do the work, schedule a complimentary consultation with me on my website, mindmoveswithmelanie.com. We'll get to know each other, we'll have a chat, and we can learn more about how we can work together to help you achieve your health and wellness goals. But thank you so much for listening to today's Off the Mat. Happy birthday to me. I'm going to go celebrate the rest of this week and month, and I hope you do the same. And we'll be back chatting again about health and wellness very soon. Bye.